What's up guys, my name is Ace, and yesterday we got the JAK Revenger Kit for the BP50 assault rifle, and this is a conversion kit that turns this effectively into an SMG. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a deep dive with all of the stats to see how this stacks up against the base BP50 as well as SMGs in this game. And diving right in, the first big thing to point out here is this kit gives you a 60 round drum magazine with many SMG level stats. However, a big thing to keep in mind is our damage values don't change when you put this kit on. We get the same damage values as the base BP50, and this means in the maximum damage range, it's a guaranteed 5-shot kill anywhere in the body. In the second damage range, we still have a 5-shot kill potential, but those shots have to hit that bonus zone, which includes the upper torso and arms. Any shot to the lower torso, and now it's going to take you 6 shots to kill. After that, it's going to be a guaranteed 6-shot kill anywhere in the body, and then finally we have a 7-shot kill potential. And the crazy thing about the fact that we have these same damage values here is we get a pretty significantly boosted rate of fire, up to 984 rounds per minute, which means our time to kill potential with a 5-shot kill up close is just 244 milliseconds. And that is an extremely fast time to kill to the body in this game, even for an SMG, and that extends out to longer ranges as well. Even at the longest ranges, we have a 366 millisecond time to kill potential with this, which is significantly faster than the average for SMGs in this game. So far, this kit is looking quite powerful. However, we do see a pretty significant range drop off, so let's have a look at the comparison here. And as we can see here, we do lose 20% to all of our range drop offs compared to the base BP50. And it is also worth noting, we see a pretty noticeable reduction to our bullet velocity. It went from 750 meters per second down to 563 meters per second. And I also wanted to do a comparison with at least some of the more popular Modern Warfare 3 SMGs. I didn't want to overwhelm things with every SMG in the game. It's just a little too cluttered, so I picked the more popular ones that kill quite fast. And we can see we actually have the same time to kill potential up close as the FJX Horus, and that's due to the fact that we have the same rate of fire as the FJX Horus. However, our 5-shot kill potential with this is quite noticeably better than the FJX Horus. However, the FJX does beat it in the 6-shot kill potential. But you can see, even stack it up against some of the better SMGs in the game, like the HRM9 or the RAM9, this has a noticeably better time to kill potential. Then I just want to quickly show what this looks like in hardcore, and of course it looks exactly the same as the base BP50, but with that 20% loss to our range values. And now let's get into Hipfire, which unfortunately this is one area where we don't get SMG level Hipfire. We actually have the exact same Hipfire values as the base BP50, which is still incredible for an assault rifle because the BP50 is really a standout in that area, but it's just not quite as good as you would typically expect out of an SMG. After that, let's get into our recoil, and this is an area that starts to get a little bit strange with the JAK Revenger Kit. While this gun doesn't have a crazy high magnitude of recoil for either horizontal or vertical recoil, what it does have is a ton of side-to-side bounce as it's kicking upward. So it follows that path quite nicely, but along that path, it's constantly bouncing back and forth, which at longer ranges, this is absolutely something that will throw you off target. But as long as you're keeping yourself within SMG ranges, this is totally fine in my experience. You should have no problem hitting your target. And another key thing I wanted to point out here is this type of side-to-side bounce is something that you simply can't really get under control super well with attachments, because this isn't horizontal or vertical recoil, so even stacking heavy in the direction of horizontal recoil doesn't eliminate this side-to-side bounce, as it seems to primarily result from gun kick as well as a loss of firing aim stability. So you can get those a little bit under control, but there's only so much you can do here to eliminate that side-to-side bounce, and it's just something you're going to have to accept and deal with if you're using this kit. But after that, let's get into our handling stats, which are very impressive. Our aim down sight time is 180 milliseconds, which is a really nice improvement, and this is actually fast even for an SMG, which is excellent. Then when it comes to our sprint to fire time, this is incredible for an assault rifle, but it would still be considered below average for an SMG by a fairly small margin. I mean, this is still very solid, it's just not quite as fast as most SMGs. And then finally for handling stats, our reload add time is unfortunately very slow at 2.27 seconds. This is extremely slow for an SMG and even slower than all of the assault rifles, but it does kind of make sense since we have a 60 round drum magazine. And at the end of the day, I would say the fact that we have a 60 round magazine makes up for the fact that our reload time is quite slow. But this is something you really have to be aware of as you're playing, because you don't want to get caught in a tough situation needing a reload with this, and you definitely want to plan your reloads accordingly. Now finally, for the base stats that are boosted very nicely with this aftermarket part, let's get into our mobility stats, and our base movement speed is incredible at 5.5 meters per second. This is far better than any one of the SMGs in this game, and this is absolutely an outlier. And the same trend carries over with our sprint speed at 6.2 meters per second. This is significantly faster than any SMG in this game, Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3 SMG. And there's actually only one gun in the entire game that has a faster sprint speed than this, and that is the WSP Stinger secondary. Outside of that, this is a massive outlier in this area, so you can get around the map extremely quickly with this, especially when you consider the fact that you have a 60-round drum, and usually putting a drum mag would really significantly slow your mobility stats down, but not in this case. And then finally, when it comes to our aim walking speed, this is more along the lines of just what you would expect out of an SMG at 3.3 meters per second. It's still solid, but it's not like a massive outlier here, and that makes sense. You definitely have to keep that value in control much more, since it has a much more direct impact on the outcome of gunfights, rather than just allowing you to get around the map. And there we go, that wraps it up for all of the important stat changes with this kit. However, there is another key thing I want to point out here, and that's the fact that when you use this kit, it will block off a lot of our attachment choices. So with this, we're unable to swap out our barrel, our underbarrel, our magazine, our comb, or our stock, and that just leaves us with muzzle, laser, optic, rear grip, and ammunition to work with. So that is definitely a downside to consider with this, but in saying that, we can still make some pretty incredible builds. And so let's dive into my first build, which is my preferred build with this that I've been having a ton of success with, and this is my SMG Stealth build. So with this, on top of the kit itself, we're using the Shadow Strike suppressor, the 1 milliwatt quickfire laser, the JAK glassless optic, and then finally the TRS-T4 grip tape. And with this, you can see our recoil is very manageable. Yes, it still has side-to-side bounce, but again, like I said, there's nothing you can really do to get on top of that too much. With the kit itself, we are losing that 20% to our range, and our bullet velocity is noticeably reduced. However, our aim down sight speed's incredibly fast at 176 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is also excellent. Our sprint speed is insane, so we can get around the map really quickly. And then we just get all the time to kill benefits with this as well. And this just makes for a really nice build overall that's extremely versatile and quite fun to use. There's not much else to say about it. It's just really good all around. So that's the first one, and the one that I'm going to be using the vast majority of time if I want to use this kit. However, I also wanted to point out this kit's pretty decent with tac stance as well. I'm not going to say it's the best tac stance gun in the game, since we are limited in our attachment selection, and therefore we can't get the tightest possible tac stance spread. But with my build here, I've got the S37C DL breacher device, the Schlager ULO 66 laser, the CCG tac tape, and then finally, I just put the overpressured ammo on there. And with this, like I said, we don't get the most insane tac stance spread out there, but as long as you're keeping yourself in close quarter situations like you should be, this should be totally fine for you. We're also slightly improving our sprint out time over just using the kit itself, and our hipfire values are quite impressive as well, so you can just hipfire in really close quarter situations when you don't have time to get into tac stance. So there's just an alternative for you guys if you want to try something a little bit different with this. Like I said, I definitely prefer using this with the previous build. This is just an alternative. And with that, that is going to wrap it up for the breakdown of the brand new JAK Revenger Kit for the BP50. And when it comes to my thoughts on this one, this is a really, really good kit. Honestly, it's probably a little bit too good, which I know is a trend that we tend to see. They launch new things really good and then typically dial them back a few weeks later. And I suspect that's going to be the case with this one because it's just got so many amazing upsides with not very many downsides to compensate for that. But of course, those are just my opinions, and this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about the JAK Revenger Kit for the BP50 so far? Do you agree with me? Do you think this kit is maybe even just a little too good? Or do you think it's perfectly fine as is? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.